Life with your host, Traci Lynn. This show is brought to you by Quest Nutrition. Cheap, clean, and make healthy eating fun with Quest Nutrition products.
Good evening, guys. Welcome to the TLC Unleashed Show, Hollywood Vibes, Sports and Life, with your host, Traci Lynn. We've got some amazing women in the house today. I'm so glad that they could join me. Today was a bit of a hard day, I'm not going to lie. I lost my dog, Jackson, last night, so 16 and a half, almost 17 years of an amazing ride with my little guy, so it's been a tough day, but you know what? I'm grateful that I get to share it with some beautiful women today, not only on the exterior, but also on the inside as well. You will be amazed when you hear these stories from these women and what they've been doing to change other people's lives and empowering women and helping women and men all over the world. So I'd like to welcome to the show Spice Williams-Crosby. Welcome.
Well, thank you, sweetheart. Thank you for having us today.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jennifer Silverstein, welcome.
Thank you.
I always want to call her Sensei, so I don't care. I'm calling both of you Sensei once in a while. You guys can deal with it. It's respect, that's why.
It means teacher.
Yeah, because you guys have taught me so much in such a little short amount of time, but I know that there's so much more to learn, and I'm so open to learning. And you both have been doing so much work and, like I say, empowering these women and teaching women how to protect themselves. So not only self-defense, but self-protection. And I like that word, too, because a lot of people, you know, look at it as self-defense as fighting or combat or things like that, but it's self-protection. So let's talk a little bit about your careers today. I want to talk about I Fight for My Life and what an amazing organization it is, and how we are going to be, you guys are going to be putting on an amazing event this weekend.
May 20th.
Yeah.
In Van Nuys, the House Champions, and it's going to be one of our I Fight for My Life seminars.
Yeah.
Which will be with men and women.
Yes.
And we really like training women, but also it's very interesting bringing men into the picture because there's a lot of men today that don't know how to protect themselves, and high school students.
Okay.
So it's become kind of an interesting journey because we were explained by Pierce College, it's through Pierce College, that we can't just do a straight women's course because there were political incorrectness things about that.
Okay.
We don't want to discriminate being a community college and all that. So it's open to the community, which we're happy to include the men this time. You're never too late or too old to learn something. So
yeah. Well, I love it. It must be a different dynamic because, I mean, self-defense, because for me, I guess, being in circumstances where I've been, you know, abused and violated, and so for me, I've never been in the environment with men, and I think it's a great thing because it also builds trust, you know, with the opposite sex as well, in a really vulnerable environment, because men are also being attacked and men are also being abused by women. So
well, yeah, and
that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Men do get attacked, and I mean, I always say, when you step on an airplane, you get a 5-minute video as to what to do in case of an air traffic accident. Where do people today get a 5-minute video as to what to do in case someone grabs them, takes them down, clocks them, puts a gun to their head, a knife to their throat? Nobody has any clues.
Yeah.
They don't know. And so, yes, you have to learn how to drive a car before you get into a car. But really, when you go out on those streets, we don't have hand-to-hand combat in war anymore, really. We push a button and a missile goes over. But the hand-to-hand combat is right here in the streets. So, I mean, everyone should learn self-protection, how to protect yourself.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about your careers, how you got started. Jennifer, let's start out with you.
How I got started in self-defense?
How you got started out in your career. I mean, this goes way back for you. You've been teaching and you've learned the Krav Maga. So let's talk a little bit about the beginning and now to here.
Well, I was many years ago, 30 years ago, in the Israeli Defense Force, the IDF, Navy division, actually. So went through basic training and all that fun stuff. And we do learn a little bit of hand-to-hand combat and basic training, firearm, all that. Marching, a lot of marching.
Yeah.
But never really did anything with that in the service. I did try out for actually a female fighting unit But because I had only been in the country 2.5 years, and you need to be in the country at least 3 to pass the security in order to get into a unit like that.
Yeah.
It's a high security unit. I couldn't pass that. So did my service, ended up coming back to the States to raise my daughter, and ended up opening up my own business working with animals. And about 11 years ago, I got into the wonderful world of self-defense. I started with taking classes with my sister in Krav Maga, and I fell in love with it. I love just feeling empowered. I loved feeling strong and confident, and it really changed my life. And it's just been evolving ever since, training with many different senseis, instructors, grandmasters. It's where I met Spice.
How long ago did you guys meet?
Oh, we were training together in a gym. We were training, not together.
Separately.
Yeah.
Separately, but I eyeballed her, she eyeballed me, and we...
No, what happened was she was talking, and I across the gym heard her, and I said, wow.
That doesn't sound
Because I'm allowed now.
I said, wow, there's finally someone in the gym as loud as me. And she immediately, we just went, zoop,
Yeah.
and blah, 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 blah. And
But then I chased her. I said, look, I'm doing these seminars and things, and I'd love for you to come help me. Oh, I don't know. I was like a couple years.
Well, no, she told me about I Fight for My Life and everything she's doing with the TV show and everything to empower women, and the stories of the women that have been through domestic violence and attacks. Some of them extremely violent. I don't know if you're going to share any of those stories, but it just broke my heart. And I also felt like, wow, that is such a privileged thing to be a part of, to bring women that have been so broken and hurt. And hopefully I don't cry telling you this.
Oh, come
but
on.
I just felt like, God,
everybody.
I felt like what a just an angel woman to give them that love and that support and that strength. And it was a while before we actually did something together, but when we did, we've been together ever since.
Well, you know what they say, when the student's ready, the teacher will appear. But I went through my life being kidnapped, locked in a house, sexually molested, going through some rapes and some, I didn't live a leave it to beaver childhood. I had a pretty, the drugs, the alcohol, everything. By the time I was 26, I had to hit my knees and ask God to help me turn my life around. And eating healthy, changing my whole, getting into sports, bodybuilding, all of that was great. But it was getting into martial arts that really touched my soul. And I learned martial arts. I got some black belts and everything.
Hold on. I got some black belts. Can we go back and let's rewind that? Let's talk about your black belts. That's just not, you got some black belts.
Well,
how long does it take to get a black belt anyway?
Well, they didn't let me test until I'd been fighting and training for 10 years. Wow. So then I had to do my black belt, then a year later you have to do another black belt to solidify that. It's like you're on probation. Then you have to wait 2 years to get your second degree. Then you have to wait 3 years to get your third degree, and then it just keeps piling. So I have a third degree in Arjukempo and a first degree still in Eskrima, which is sticks and knives, and then I'm certified. As with Jennifer, when we teamed up together, we went through Kapop, which is hand-to-hand combat, and we wound up getting our level. There's ABC. We wound up getting our B, and then C in Guatemalan Kapop, right? So, but what we did is we started doing a free class for the community. And
Kapop, just so people know, is an acronym for Krav Panim Lepanim, which means hand-to-hand combat.
Perfect. So what's the difference between the Kapop and the Guatemalan?
Well, they speak Spanish. No.
All right.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Every
Spanish
sensei,
division.
Yeah, the Spanish division.
Okay.
Every sensei that takes off and creates their own kind of system within a system, they put their spin on it.
Okay.
So to say.
Okay.
So we were certified through the Israeli ministry, through Moshe Kalisko, and under Sensei Yaakov Bressler. And then one of the men that we had trained with, Sensei Stewart, Schumann.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I had
okay.
a senior moment there. Who's from Guatemala.
Yeah.
He has his system there.
Yeah.
And as I was belted under also in Kempo, under in Puerto Rico, there was Sensei, Jesus, what's wrong with me today?
Willie
Hernandez.
She's just making sure Jennifer has all the facts.
Oh, she does.
I know.
No, she does.
Her
Car
personal assistant
navigator.
today.
No, that's what you keep them all around for when your brain goes. You know, they say that's the
That's why we
second.
work so well together.
They say that's the second. Yeah.
She's my brain and this is
Second
not.
thing to go. That's why I start the sentence.
not the brain.
She finishes it. But,
Add a couple sentences.
but we got certified in Puerto Rico in the security defense.
Defensive tactics.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then we got certified through the Israeli Ministry of Education, and then the Guatemalan. So it's all about protecting yourself
Yeah.
and maximum damage, least amount of effort, working with guns, knives, street smart stuff.
So the background that you had, going through that trauma and the things you went through, is that why you decided to get involved with this?
Well, it's kind of interesting because as an actress, I also took on doing stunts. And when you're doing stunts for 35 years, I always had a fight coordinator showing me, okay, here's how we're going to shoot the gun this way. I killed more people or got killed. So I was always shooting, stabbing, or fighting, which was a lot of fun. But the first time I got invited into a ring to fight for real, I learned that cameras don't hit back. I mean, that was a rude awakening. Like, oh, crap, I have to actually put my hands up and bob weave stuff. And that's when I made up my mind, you know what, I want to learn the real deal. So then outside of the martial arts, then I realized martial arts, there's all kinds of martial arts.
Yeah.
And this is street smarts when you're learning this kapap, or like Jennifer's amazing in Krav Maga. That world for her.
So the question maybe you should have asked, or sorry.
I told her she was going to interview today because I was feeling.
I know. I'm just listening to you two and pick up on little things.
Yeah, she should have asked that.
Was the difference between Krav Maga and kapap, because the Krav Maga is the more commercial name for contact combat. It's Hebrew for contact combat, literally translated.
So Krav Maga and kapap are the same.
Well, I was going to say kapap is actually a branch of Krav Maga.
Okay.
So you've got the contact combat and the hand-to-hand combat. They do overlap in a lot of techniques.
Yeah.
But like Spice was saying, with the security defensive tactics and the Guatemalan Ba'alam and the other certifications, each system or sensei or grandmaster will have their spin on it, and you're just learning a little bit more and overlapping. But for the audience's sake, just so the Krav Maga, hand-to-hand combat, they overlap. But it is street fighting. It is
and what does Krav
combat
mean?
fighting.
What is just the word Krav?
Krav means fight.
So
And Maga means touch.
Magami.
I fight touch you.
Here, I'm going to
fight
touch
touch
you.
I'm learning so much.
Listen, if you can't have a good sense of humor about it all, when you get into a fight, you learn a lot, and all your techniques usually go out the window. But what we have taught, and what we really emphasize, is fighting like a cat being shampooed. You can't let your adrenal glands dump your adrenaline, freeze, go paralytic. You've got to keep your mind focused and be able to just, and what we teach, you're learning the soft points where to hit, target, ripping ears off, gouging eyes, biting. We like to really mess someone up.
If we need to, and what I'd love to go back with the adrenaline dump and explain that a little bit more for people that don't understand, because there's those situations where, even like the police like sirens go on, like things like that, or anything. Can you explain the adrenaline dump and what it is if people are not familiar with that?
Well, you have two adrenal glands. They sit on top of your kidneys, and they're about that big, and they look like little Napoleonic hats. And they do a lot of things. They produce cortisol when you're under stress.
Mm-hmm.
They produce DHEA, which is dehydroepiandrosterol, to balance your hormones out.
Mm-hmm.
They produce all your hormones. They also produce sodium bicarbonate to make sure you're not acidic. But they also, adrenal glands produce adrenaline.
Yeah.
And adrenaline is shot out when you go into a fight or flight situation, a scary thing. You have 60,000 miles of vessels in your body, and there are little beta receptor sites where this adrenaline will attach to it and squeeze the vessels. Actually, that's what hypertension is.
Yeah.
Just fix the adrenal glands and learn how to ohm, and you'll be able to settle that hypertension down. But once that happens, once this heart starts going and your palms are sweaty and your eyes are glazed over and you can't breathe, you freeze. It's called a paralytic dump and adrenaline dump, and it happens to the best. It happens to soldiers, police officers, advanced martial artists. It just happens. It's happened to pilots.
Yeah.
The training, you could be the greatest technician in the world, but you need to train past that adrenaline dump.
Yeah.
And that's why Jennifer and I always feel it's so important to, when we teach hands-on. We do have men. I mean, we can put our hands around a woman's throat and say, okay, we're going to teach the choke. But then you get a guy with his hands around your throat, and some of these women start to panic a little bit, even though they know they're not going to be hurt, but it sets up this fight or flight situation, and that's what you have to train through.
So is that training through, Jen, like when you're doing that and you're actually doing the hands-on and the choking, is that how we train through it?
Yeah, you got to train through it. Unfortunately there's no easy way to go through it, and there's like little panic and big panic, and everyone's different. Their tolerance is different, and how they handle it is different. We teach all the combatives, the techniques, the vital point strikes. It's very hard to teach that fighting spirit. We try to bring it out. We try to get the aggression. We try to give people permission to fight for themselves and to do something. But in the end, it's really up to your own will to survive, with or without skills, to just fight through it and do anything you can to survive no matter what. And people have to really pull that from deep in their core. And it's hard. We do pressure drills and other things. But like I said, you'll get someone's hands around your neck, and you can panic real quick once you start feeling that choke.
Yeah, and that's good what she said. She just said a little panic or a big panic. And we've had women on the bag. We do palm strikes, hammer, elbows, head, stuff like that. And I saw a woman, just getting her to hit the bag, she was like, I can't do this. And I'm like, what's wrong? And she's like, I'm going to start crying. I go, well, cry. I don't care. Cry, puke, throw, I don't care. But don't stop.
Yeah.
You cannot stop. So you take them sometimes to a point where I've been attacked. Okay, me too. Let's go.
Yeah.
You don't buy into it. I mean, I can emphasize with them, but to lay down in that wallow of, oh, I've been attacked, serves you no good. It's like, got it, been there, now let's fix it.
Yeah, solution-based. And I do actually, like I am familiar with that because doing the self-defense classes with both of you, and I always told the story about when I first walked in, I was scared to death because I was like, oh my God, these women look like this, and they're amazing, and they're strong, and they're powerful, and I don't know what to expect.
So are you.
But, when you're coming into something, and
I know,
it's different, and
it's a fish out of water thing.
Yeah, and there's triggers. We all have our triggers. So coming in, I didn't know what to expect, and I think that's the biggest thing, and that's really what I want to convey today, so that, because my biggest thing is when I ask people, take self-defense with me or come, to this course or this class, they're like, oh, I don't know. And I go, well, tell me, why don't you know? Like, what is it for you? What's going on for you that's keeping you back, holding you back? Well, what's it like? because they want to know what it's like before they get in there, because
They think they're going to get hurt.
they think they're going to get hurt. They think they're going to get put on the spot. They think that, emotional stuff's going to come up, and it is. And it's also we're fear of the unknown, but also the healing. That was my biggest thing, because I came out of a domestic violence situation from my ex-husband, and I didn't know if I was strong enough to heal at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if I was ready for that. You're never going to be ready. And that's the thing, and that's what I like to tell people, because it's like, just come and just be part of it, even if you just show up.
Yeah.
Just show up.
No, you're so right.
That's a great point, Tracy, really. I'm glad you touched on that, because I honestly don't think that we're that scary.
No, you're not.
Well, she is.
You're not.
She is. I'm not. She is scary.
No,
trust me.
No, but you guys
I was
know
going
your
to
stuff.
say, I think it gets people out of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
And it reflects on them and their insecurities, the not knowing what to expect.
Yeah.
And because it's not, maybe Spice and I was a tomboy. She's a woman of the world.
My husband calls me Annie
Yeah.
Oakley. So
she's like, let's try anything once, and if we like it, we'll do it a bunch more times. But,
Like, that was cool.
a lot of people aren't naturally inclined to go to like a self-defense class, because they feel like, oh, I don't want to be a boxer or a fighter. Or,
but the worst
and
of
you're
it,
out of your comfort zone.
But the worst of it is, I know it gets her goat and it gets my goat when they go, oh, well, I'll just call the police. And I'm like, well, when it takes minutes for the cops to get there,
what are you going to do until then?
How many seconds does it take to kill you or harm you? And why are you not interested in protecting yourself? Why are you not interested in protecting your family? Mm-hmm. I mean, we all got car insurance. We all put our seatbelts on. We all have to make sure we have fire things, and we're protecting our environment all the time. Yeah. What is wrong with people?
It's a great question.
Yeah. And we're taking care of our health. If we didn't have our health, like you said, coming into your next level of your life and going into the health and becoming a vegan and all those different things, and myself too, coming out of, eating disorders and addictions and things like that in my 20s, it was like...
I had all those. You're not that special.
I know. We're twins.
What else did we do? Let me see.
Come on, what else?
We didn't rob a bank. I know that much.
Yeah, because we'd have money.
Yeah, exactly. Bingo.
Not that we don't, but but the thing is
it's never too late to rob.
It's true.
Yeah, don't give me any
See,
ideas.
I told you, she's a lot scarier than me. I told
it's
you.
the quiet ones.
Oh yeah, the rivers run
quiet,
deep.
Yeah, the quiet ones.
But you know how we're laughing right now.
Yeah.
We take our teaching very seriously, but we also have a good time.
Yeah.
And the thing is that, and actually, I was criticized about that one time, because I had a girl come into the class.
About what part? Having fun?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'll say, like, okay, get into rape position. Who do you want to rape you? And we're all like enjoying each other. And they'll turn to my son, who's really good looking. Oh, can he rape me? And we just
people say,
yeah, out of kibitzing. It's just kibitzing. Yeah. But one woman said, I've been raped. You don't understand. And I go, wait a minute, honey. I've been raped 3 times. I was kidnapped and locked in a house for 6 hours and molested. I got gang raped. I know what all this is about. I've had a knife to my throat, a gun to my head. I choose not to wallow in doom. Mm-hmm. I choose to enjoy my life. I am alive. I've got my body, and I sympathize with the panic that you had, but it's serving you no good.
Well, the difference is you're not a victim anymore.
No.
Yeah.
No, that's not, thank you.
Absolutely.
We take victims and turn them into victors.
Yeah.
We don't want to be, who wants to be oppressed and a victim? Mm-hmm. It's so boring.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of the different techniques, is that what we'd call them?
Yeah.
Techniques, like being down in rape position, like you said. I remember doing that, having that a few times in the classes and the lessons, and I got angry when I couldn't get out of, like, getting the person off of me in the exercise. And it was like, for me, it was frustrating because I couldn't really put my mind into the scenario and really get into the moment. I just was like, I wanted to fight, like I just wanted to win. And so I was really trying to connect with it, and I think that's the biggest thing about self-defense and self-protection is really connecting with it. And you guys really teach that and have taught that to me, so that when I'm in there, I think about, if this was a real life situation, what would I do? Like, this isn't a joke. This is a real life situation. If you're being raped or attacked or pinned down on the ground or choked up against a wall, what are you going to do?
Well, there's concepts that we like to teach. And it's like if his hands are around your throat, his hands are busy, yours are free. Mm-hmm. Can he rape you with his pants on? No. Can he rape you with your pants on? No. So therefore, he's going to have to remove and pull his fly down, pull his pants down, or pull your pants down. In the interim, his hands get busy. You've got to understand when your moment to be able to attack is. Mm-hmm. So you think, you calm your nerves down, you think, what's the best way? I mean, if I see a guy's going to pull his fly down and pull something out, my mind is, oh, I got something to grab now. You know,
yeah.
I don't
and moving past that, oh, I'm helpless stage.
Yeah.
Oh, he's attacking me, and now I'm helpless. Like when you were pinned down in the rape position, you got angry, you got frustrated maybe because you felt like you didn't know what to do or you felt like you couldn't do anything. Mm-hmm. And then you get into that, oh, I'm helpless. And once your brain reverts into that mindset, mm-hmm. you do freeze and you are just basically a sitting duck waiting for them to do whatever they're going to do to you. Yeah, whatever they're going to do to you, right? And rather than thinking, I'm not helpless, I can do something. Yeah. And we give them the skills to do something. Better to learn them in class before an attack. God forbid it should ever happen to anybody. But if you are, wouldn't you want to know what to do before? Yes. Rather than feeling like I don't know what to do or I can't do anything. Yeah. You're never helpless. Yeah. Right? I mean, you've got something you can do.
Yeah, and bouncing off that point, Sensei Cowan, who's big guy, how big do you think he is? You know how big he is.
He teaches me a lot.
Yeah. Maybe we shouldn't say that on the air.
but I had him take this little girl and wrap her up in his arms and hold her up against the post in the ring. And I said, so what are you going to do? She goes, I can't do anything. My hands are here. My legs are all pinned down. I can't do anything. And I said, you can't do anything? She goes, no, I can't do anything. So I reached in and I grabbed her hands and turned them like that. I said, now just grab his flesh and squeeze it as hard as you can. And she did, and he popped away just enough for her to pop him in the face. I said, there, you did something. Yeah. And like Jennifer always says, if this isn't working, don't stick with it. Like, oh, it didn't work, it worked in class. Go to something else, go to something else, go to something else.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Yeah, and that's what it was. It was always, for me, I'd go, oh, I don't really know what to do. And you're like, use your hands, use this, use your head, use that, use anything. And you start realizing that you have all these, weapons, like an extension of your arm, using your purse or your bag or groceries.
And you'd be surprised what's really interesting. Remember that girl we had in one of the seminars? She apparently got clocked by her boyfriend. She was a little bitty thing and he was big. She got clocked by her boyfriend. He threw her down on her face on the bed and raped her.
Oh, yeah.
And so I said, okay.
On her stomach.
Yes. And she said, I didn't know what to do. Well, I said, well, first of all, it's your boyfriend. Because this is a guy you used to make love with and had a relationship, and now he's turned into an evil creature. Mm-hmm. So there's your mind split. Should I hurt him? Should I not? And then the other thing is, I said, get down on your face. And I took one of our biggest senseis and I put him down on top of her. And she just turned white.
She turned white. Oof.
And I said, now, what are you going to do? She goes, I don't know. I go, well, where are your hands? And she goes, I don't know. She didn't know where her hands were. She didn't know where her feet were. Everything, you go like this.
Panicked.
You panic, and your whole life is up here, and you forget this other part of your body. I go, your hands are right there. Reach in, and whatever you reach in, grab and pinch as hard as you can. And the minute she did that, the guy popped away, and I said, now flip. But she lost the understanding of her body. She had no idea where hands or legs were. And that happens when you panic.
Yeah. And we teach early versus late defense, too. That's obviously very late defense. Hopefully, we teach everyone, women especially, to hopefully not get into that position by seeing the signs, recognizing them, and defending earlier rather than later, so that you're not in more of a compromising situation.
Yeah.
Because that's really key. And I think we are a little too trusting and a little too unassuming, and we get ourselves in really bad situations that we could have prevented had we reacted sooner.
Yeah.
And
Which doesn't mean you have to be paranoid.
Yeah.
It's just as we say, be aware, be prepared, prevent, but know that you have a right to fight for your life. And that's why we teach like the thinking pose. If you're standing out in the street and you're in this thinking pose, what do you do?
you teach that in every school. Needs to just
Every school should. What do you do in a thinking
just
pose?
learn a thinking pose.
What do you do? What do you do in a thinking pose?
You think?
Oh, oh my God! Yes, some people.
We're not
some
teaching
people,
that in schools.
No, but some people will sit there and go, "I have no idea."
What was I
They go,
thinking
"Oh,
when
let
I
me
was
give you the
thinking
key
about
word."
What do we do in the
Think.
thinking pose?
Thinking.
Let me think about that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm really glad I got that right because they would have failed me.
No, exactly.
That would have been a hammer fist.
Bringing elbows to the face.
So you have a lot to think about in that thinking pose. It's what calms you down. Where is he? Where are his hands? Who just walked out of the bank? Was there a child there? Is he selling me Girl Scout cookies or does he have a knife? In that thinking pose is this pre-moment of being able to assess your environment.
I didn't have a word for your pre-moment.
No,
I tried
but
to
I mean,
jump in and
I
say
know,
that.
well,
I didn't.
We're like,
do you have a
where's the brain?
pre-moment?
Where's the brain?
Pre-moment?
I
Do you have
didn't
a
think of what would
pre-moment?
the word be.
I got it. It was almost there.
Yeah, there is a word. We
I
just
know.
don't know it.
I'm having a senior moment today.
A pre-moment.
A pre-moment.
Another word for that, let us know. Let us know, Facebook, Instagram.
Everybody
whatever.
type
in the word.
Somebody Google this right now.
Yeah, exactly.
We need help.
Yeah. But for God's sakes, people walk out. I swear to the heavens, I was backing up. You know, we have on our cars now things that you can see where you're backing up. And I looked in the rearview mirror. I looked around, and there's this woman on her phone texting, standing like 4 feet from the back of my car. And I'm backing up, and I stopped, and she's just standing there, and I finally got out of the car. I go, "Do you want me to hit you or what?" I mean, they're so unaware.
Yeah.
People are so unaware, and they don't know when you're walking. Oh, I got jumped one night with my son walking to my car at 12 o'clock midnight on Christmas Eve, and a guy from around a car came running at me, short guy. Nothing against short guys, but he was short.
Yeah, please.
And I don't want to get.
We don't want to hear anything
Because
about thinking about
I
short
am the
guys.
most politically incorrect human being on this
We
planet.
love
Watch
short
out for
guys,
the
too,
short
tall
guys.
Exactly.
Walking up to you.
But he was wearing. I just came out of a house with a bunch of stunt people, and he was wearing a green Christmas shirt with a white Santa Claus hat.
Well, that'll throw you off. You're not expecting.
And he came running up to me.
One of the elves
Because that
to
seems,
attack you.
yeah.
I thought
that
it was
seems like a
some-
happy outfit.
Yeah.
Not an attacker.
Who would get attacked by an elf? I mean,
You.
I guess.
Yeah,
We can laugh about it now.
But the only thing my training kicked in was the minute he came running. I had my keys in my hand, and he came running after me to grab my throat and my keys. And I went, we teach arrowhead.
Yeah.
I went into a split arrowhead, and I smashed him in the face, and I smashed his arm. The biggest mistake I made was I said, "Who are you? Do I know you?" Because in that time, the altercation took place. I should have just elbowed him, grabbed him, and slammed him down. But that one brief second was, I just came out of a Christmas party. Maybe he's a stunt guy that wants to just, hey, Spice, just play around, whatever. And I said, "Who are you? Do I know you?" And we fought over my dad's keys. Well, I say my dad's keys. Had my dad's World War I and World War II dog tags on. They slammed up on my chest. He scraped my chest. We got into an altercation. I finally got, and then Luke goes, "Mom!" and my son, and he's got all these katanas and these swords in the back of the car. He's pulling them out. I'm like, Luke, please.
Running into the woods.
He's going to run after him. I go, no, there might be 6 of them around the corner.
That's not self-defense anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
But
that's not what
I think what we learned from that is kick ass first, ask questions
exactly.
later.
And it's like, oh, I'm sorry, Grandma, but you shouldn't have, scared me that way. But yes, I should have, with all my training, and I talked to a police officer about this who I love dearly, and he goes, is that still eating you up? And I go, it is. It's eating me up. I should have just clocked him. And he goes, well, us police officers that have maybe a fraction of a second to figure out should we shoot, should we not, we have to live with it for the whole thing, through the trials, through the court cases, through years, and we wonder, wow, could I have done it differently? And he goes, don't let it eat you up.
Yeah.
You let it eat you up, you're not going to get better for the next time. You won't learn from that lesson.
Yeah, and
So-
you did learn. I mean,
Yeah, but it still eats me up.
Well, you know what, though?
Well, I think
Obviously, he
there's-
had bad intentions, and had you not blocked and confronted him, something worse could have happened.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah.
So my training kicked
He
in. on
ran
that level.
off,
Yeah.
obviously,
Yes.
because you gave him some sort of
Exactly.
resistance.
Right.
So,
And he didn't expect it. He expected me to back up being a victim. Oh, please don't hurt me.
Yeah.
And I just closed the gap and went right in on him. So
Yeah.
it threw him off his game.
sure.
You would have
Sure.
kicked his butt.
yes.
Just for wearing that sweater. But
See?
that's from
That's
the Jew.
funny.
Sorry, Christine.
That's so funny. Oh, well
my
played. I
God.
love it. That's funny.
But it just goes to show you never know. You know, when you're out in the public, I was
Yeah.
approached by a very hostile, beautiful young woman that approached me like she was going to fight, and it really threw me off.
Oh, I remember that.
And I had my hands full of stuff, and I was
Really? I
thinking,
didn't
wow,
hear
any
that.
second now I'm going to have to throw all my stuff on the ground and fight. But the whole time I'm looking at her like, I can't hurt her. She's like this really beautiful girl. But she was like evil.
Why did she want to fight you? Do
And
you
it
know?
made me, she was probably on drugs. I confronted her. She was going through the dumpsters in the middle of the night on our property, and I confronted her, and she started coming at me very aggressively. But in my mind, I was kind of thinking, is this really happening?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm expecting to be attacked by a big, scary man, not a
Yeah.
really beautiful young girl.
And they're the worst
So-
sometimes.
It just
They're like
goes to
badgers.
show-
They hang on and they don't let go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can't just put it all on men. Women attack other
We
women
could try.
too.
Yeah.
But to
No,
be
but you're
honest,
right. No, you're absolutely
women
right.
are also can be a danger.
Can be crazy.
Or big, small, young, old, good looking, not
Yeah.
good looking.
And when
I
it
mean,
comes to drugs,
you just never
across the
know.
board.
You just never
Yeah.
know. You've got to keep an awareness at all times and be ready to do something if you have to.
and that there's a difference between kind of martial arts and street smarts. Is that in martial arts, you learn your upward blocks, your inward blocks, you learn your moves, your kata. In boxing, you learn your combinations. Oh, I'm going to jab, right switch, body kick, boom, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You learn these things. In street, how long is a street fight? 30 seconds?
Yeah.
Maybe not even that long, and you have to be able to think on your feet. What's the best way? Where's my angle? How can I get in here?
Yeah.
It goes to not what you've learned combination wise.
Exactly.
It goes to how do I manipulate this person's body, points of articulation. How do I get him out of here? How do I use my elbows, rake him? How do I how can I close the gap, open the gap? There's a lot of other things. You don't go into the thinking of combinations. You go into like and if you hit the ground, you got to be trained to keep your chin tucked, get your feet kicked up.
Yeah. That's a big one too, because you think about it too, like not breaking your arms and not breaking your fall. And when I learned falls with you guys, that was so critical for me because, you learn how to land without hurting yourself, first of all. But you're still in control, so you're maintaining that control.
Yeah.
The other thing too is I find because society now, where the women are into the boxing and doing stuff like that, and nothing against it, I love it, I do it myself. but we're not fighting. We're boxing and doing it for tan and shape and all these things, and maybe not sparring and stuff like that. So we think, we have this kind of grandiose thing that we're a little tougher and we can maybe manage a street fight. So we're not prepared, and if you haven't been in a street fight, you really don't know what to expect.
So you get hit.
Yes. Well, yeah.
A
boxer, and listen, anybody doing boxing, kickboxing,
Yep.
Taekwondo, spin class, be in the best shape you can be,
Yes.
and learn something, right? But a boxer's going to box. How are you going to box when I've grabbed you by the back of the hair from behind and pulled you down to the ground and pinned your arms?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're a
Exactly.
boxer.
You
You cannot box now. You better do something else.
Right. Or puts a gun to your head. How
Yeah.
do you handle that? Or puts a knife to your throat. And a lot of these guys, like boxers, they're used to dealing with refs. There's no ref out in the street.
Yeah.
Right. And your opponent on the street is an unknown. So you've got to.
Yeah. You don't have the stats. You weren't.
Yeah, you didn't
weren't
get to
lined
pick,
up
yeah,
in
that's
the
not
middleweight.
that's not your friend in class that you get to play
Yeah.
around with. This is an unknown, and
That
you've got
wants to do harm.
Yeah, you've got to handle it with the utmost of speed, aggression, and skill.
And that is the psychological thing too. When we say, Jennifer and I will say, "Oh, go ahead and put your hand on my face."
Mm-hmm.
And women, we're nurturers. They're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, hello, dear."
was doing
They're
that
like, "No,
too.
you put your hand on my face. Oh, I don't want to hurt you." I go,
Yeah.
"Well, we're gonna teach you how to palm strike these people."
except for that one
And-
time.
My nose
Once
still
had a
hurts.
band
from
camp,
that.
what happened?
Were you there that day?
I don't know.
No, I don't think she
Oh
was.
my
No.
God! This one woman what?
She had a wrist brace
She
on.
had a wrist brace.
because
You
her
know
wrist
those
was
metal wrist
broken.
braces?
Oh no.
Well, it wasn't broken, but maybe it was broken once.
She had a fracture or
Was
something.
after she
Right.
hit you?
So I said, "No, here, give me your hand." I said, "Put it on my face."
Yeah.
Not like this, but like put
Face
her on
to
my
skin,
face.
yeah.
She goes, "Oh, like this, bam!"
And she had
no,
that
she had
metal,
the
that metal thing. So she go put it. That's the hand she used. Spice was like, okay.
Okay, I saw stars, but I needed to maintain
Did
my
she
cool.
realize what she did, or she
Yeah,
yeah,
She
Very
felt bad, but you ever seen a cat slide and hit a wall and go, "That's cool, that's cool"? I had to be like, "Oh yeah, that's cool. I'm fine. Yeah,
Actually, I've done that a few times.
Let me
That's
just.
okay. Brittany need me in the bunny.
Oh, ow.
That
I'm like, we're
hurts.
just targeting. We're not actually. I don't have like a pad there, Brittany. So
Yeah, so just
Yeah,
maintain.
it hurts for women as much as it does men.
That-
women, yeah. Once it kicks
Oh,
in,
you ever fall
Funny,
on
they're really dangerous.
a boy
Right?
bike? You ever fall on a boy
Oh,
bike?
wow,
Come on,
yes.
ladies. We have problems too, but well, that's the thing.
there's stuff there.
Yeah, yes.
Yes,
So-
that's another show.
Yeah, that's exactly. But we'll go into the medical
Yeah,
aspect.
I saw
We're not on
Spice
Sirius XM yet.
went into the thinking
I
mode.
went
I
into
was
the
like,
thinking
oh
mode,
no, we're gonna have to bleep everything out.
Exactly.
You gotta
X-rated.
get your Sirius radio station up so you
Yeah.
can really have a
Exactly.
You can really have a show.
I know.
I love it.
But I mean, like, it's true when Jennifer and I are teaching, and we do have male senseis and stuff like that will take the brunt, and we tell them, if you don't wear a cup, it's on you. But we try and protect ourselves. If you're kicking, you have to watch, because they're like a baby rattler. A mature rattler will bite you and not shoot their venom, like shoot their wad completely into you, but a baby rattler will just dump everything. There's no control. That's why baby rattlers are so dangerous.
Yeah.
And that's the way it is when you're teaching some civilians, white belts. They have no control.
Yeah.
So it's
I tell them control.
Yes, learning that. Yeah.
Control.
and then they
That's
do
a
get
lot in
so,
class.
but they do get so excited. You mean like, oh, so if I bash him this way, rip his ear off, stick my thumb in his eyes, then I can kick him in the testicles.
Well,
I don't think I've ever heard you
I've
use that.
seen-
I know, but I'm a doctor.
Wow.
I can use those words.
I know that was impressive. You
I
can
prefer
say other
ball-
stuff on here.
I prefer balls.
Yeah,
but
let's
I
just
was
go
trying
with
to
balls.
be-
Let's
I
just-
like balls.
let's- balls. I like balls
I
too.
mean, the word and.
I like saying balls and.
I do.
And
Balls,
we're
balls is a good.
And
See,
there we
we're trying to
go.
not say
Down
but
into
it's
the
hard.
abyss.
Groin, you can say groin. You can say-
There's a lot of words.
we prefer balls.
Yeah, balls. It makes a bigger impact.
Yeah, well, even little children know what it means. But I think that, where were we?
Well,
Get us back on track. Get us back on track.
So,
we got stuck on the balls.
Let's go
About
into
Sunday.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the workshop on Sunday, and then we're also going to talk about, I want to know if we can just kind of go through, maybe not go through them, but talk about a couple drills. So close proximity, further away, just kind of a few things just so we can give the basics, so that when everybody comes to the class on Sunday, they kind of know what to expect, or just kind of some basic beginner moves.
what we're teaching in class.
Yeah, too bad Dan was filming, because we could use him as a test
Oh,
dummy.
we could, we'll show you that groin hit.
You didn't bring a
Lee,
a tripod.
do you have your cup? Do you have your cup?
Yeah, right. Well,
Well, if you wanted a demo, Spice and I can demo.
Yeah, that would be
but
great. If we could just
An
do
overall,
just a
what we
couple
do.
things. Yeah,
we're
just a
going to
couple
warm up.
things.
We're going to stretch the class out, warm
Yeah.
up a little bit. We're going to go through their strikes, their palm strikes, and teach them how to strike, their hammers, their elbows, some knees, some kicks.
learning the weapons on their body.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And making them aware that we have a little brochure, improvised weapons. Like, what is an improvised weapon? What do you have in here that's an improvised weapon?
My water bottle.
I love that water bottle.
It's full, so it does more damage.
Yeah, but you can also open it up and slam it in their face, squirt it in their face.
Oh, that's I
That's
never thought
good.
of that.
You know,
I like it.
There's a lot of stuff in here. Whoa, there's a lot of toys in here.
Yeah.
So people don't realize, a magazine, roll it up, use that, or a lamp. If you have a belt, working that. Somebody has a knife, take your jacket off, wrap it around your wrist, whatever, certain things. So we go through a lot of improvised, a hat, baseball hat. There's a lot of things that you have that can be improvised weapons.
Baseball hat. That's interesting. I haven't learned that one. I always wear baseball hat.
You ever been hit in the face with, the thing that comes, the plastic thing at the end?
Yeah.
That puts
The
together
snap.
the snap?
Yeah.
You take it off and you just snap it on someone's face.
Don't give it to her.
Yeah, here, what?
Try it on Jennifer.
You thought you were crying.
I'm like, yeah.
Distance.
I should learn how to not ask these questions.
Let me hold my water bottle.
Exactly.
No, but look, just do like that.
Okay, so snap it.
If that hits someone in the face,
Yeah,
it's
that's gonna
them.
hurt. Okay.
If anything, it's just whoop, whoop.
Yeah,
just
shock them to take them out of.
that fight or flight thing
Thanks,
takes
Dan.
over.
We'll try it on you later.
Well, and he's also here that brim.
Yeah.
If you just whap him, there's a lot of weapons that you can improv, and then talk about techniques. Choking, wrist grabs, whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so after we do our introductions, and we do a quick introduction because it's always good to know what actually motivated somebody to come to class. At least I find that interesting because you're like, why'd you decide to come to take a self-defense class? Because there are some people that have been attacked before, and they
we've
feel
heard
like
some horrible stories.
like they need to learn some skills. And then a lot of mothers are bringing their young daughters to class, which is really encouraging, especially before they go off to college, because God only knows that the colleges aren't really doing
Well,
anything
rape
to
is up.
protect these girls.
Rape is up 68%. They have so much problems in college today that they can't even go to the courts outside. They have to just keep them inside.
Wow,
and then if
that's
it's
sad.
football player and he's on a scholarship, you know how that's going to end up.
So we go over 7 basic techniques. I mean, there's really only so much you can teach in a 4-hour or 5-hour class. I mean, Spice IU, we're all learning every week, every day, new stuff or honing our skills. So it's not like we want to ever claim that come to class and you're going to learn everything you ever need to know about martial arts or self-defense. But it's definitely a good immersion and a good beginning. And we really do inundate them with enough to learn most of the basics where distance is concerned, weapons, long, medium, short range, hand-to-hand combat. And then we go over our 7 techniques, starting from wrist grabs all the way up to chokes, bear hugs with your arms free, bear hugs with your arms pinned from the front, from behind, being taken down by the hair, taken down to the ground, rape position, and full mount. So going over those 7 techniques and working them with, we have people partner up, and then our black belts will also help assist, fine-tune. People have questions, and learning to use your body as a weapon is very exhilarating.
And then Jennifer's going to do a thing on active shooter.
Yeah.
Just
talk
some
about
information on that, things to think about. They always say the run, hide, and fight. But she has a lot of information that we just felt was important that we should mention that.
And especially with what's going on in the world right now too, and there's such a bad thing around guns and knives and things like that. I've gone to the shooting range, and I know I've lost a few followers on Instagram and Facebook when I post it, but the thing is that it's going to happen regardless of what we do.
We need more friends with guns.
I know. Who else is other? Yeah.
First of all,
I'm sorry. Did you just lose more followers?
I probably missed a couple thousand there.
We think the whole thing goes down.
I've got no followers.
Well, truly, the only thing that
you got the other ones.
Yeah, the ones that matter the most, right?
The only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. It's and there's absolutely no gun law that would stop any of these mass shootings. It truly isn't. I mean, really, all the gun laws were in for.
Well, we
you got to follow the gun laws.
We have laws.
Yeah.
The good people that follow the laws really aren't the issue.
Well, Jennifer and I have guns. We're not going out trying to shoot people.
Yeah, and
good people don't.
Protection.
Well, I mean, unless they're shooting us.
Well,
we don't just go out because we had a bad day.
Yeah, it's self-protection and protecting yourself. We've only got a couple minutes left. I just heard time flew by. So let's talk about how we can sign up for I Fight for My Life and get everybody down there on Sunday for
2 days left.
Yes.
Yeah.
Two
to sign up.
Really? Oh, okay. Well, our website is ifightformylife.com.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go there, you'll see the flyer, and you click on there, and it will have a link to click. It will take you right to the Pierce College catalog. Okay. And for 5 hours, it's $65. Wow. Everybody gets a free kitty cat key guard, which goes on your keychain. And then they get a booklet with pictures and instructions on the 7 techniques. Woo-hoo. So there it is.
So here it is, the kitty, and I love this.
It should be on your keys.
No, I have the other one on my keys.
Oh, okay.
Don't, I'm not lying. I swear it's in there.
Okay, I'll believe you.
Oh, I swear, there it is.
There it is. Wow,
okay, that's just a
see, she's discriminating right now.
Yeah, don't make it personal, guys.
But
awesome.
Your keys should always be in your hands.
Yeah.
Always. When you leave a safe place and go to your car, you don't want to be reaching in looking for your keys. The predator's already checked you out. He's done his homework. So this way your keys can hang from this. You can open the car door, pick up your groceries, and then if somebody grabs you, then you've got, and
it's sharp. I mean, this is amazing.
But this is an item of opportunity to help you make space in the event of an attack.
Exactly.
There.
I love it. Thank you so much, Jennifer Silverstein, Spice Williams Crosby, for being here today. I admire and respect these two women. I really want you guys to come out to this class. If not, this one, I mean, you guys have to come down and see what they can do. And you're learning so much. So sign up for the class, and I Fight for My Life. Sign up for the website as well, and we'll see you guys down there. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll find you also on social media under your full names.
Yes, Spice Williams Crosby, and we do have a I Fight for My Life page
well.
and you're Jennifer Kalik Silverstein.
Yep. And also on Instagram as well, same names?
Spice WC for me.
And I know yours is a little different.
Tied and Torn.
And
there's a story behind it. There's got to be a story behind that one.
Thank you guys so much for being here today. Stay blessed and stay healthy, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Bye, guys.
Okay.
Okay.
We're out.
We're out. We're out.
So we only do techniques?
No.
We don't get to knee each other in the pussy?
Now, why didn't you say that?